everyone. How are you? Welcome to Be Free Society Women's History Month edition. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your time. And I am so excited to be with you tonight. Not only that, but y'all, I have a super duper dope chick on here with me tonight. Tonight, y'all. Yes. And my amazing sister girl, Brittany Trujillo.
Thank
you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. I feel very, very honored. I appreciate this opportunity, especially being your first guest for your Women's Empowerment Monthly guest. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. No, the honor is all mine. So, ladies, for those of you that are live, thank you. For those of you that are watching the replay, thank you. For those of you that do not know me, I am Natasha Rivera. I am a holistic health and wellness coach, and I help high achieving women redesign their lives so that they can prioritize their health and well-being, live unapologetically, and cultivate a joyful life. I'm also the creator of this group, Be Free Society. And for, Women's History Month, I want to do something special. And I don't really like when it was just like one day or 1 month when we get to observe a holiday or whatever. But I think that we should celebrate us as women all the time, every day. Every day is our day, right? Don't you agree, Brittany?
I absolutely agree.
So I wanted to do something special. And so on Sunday nights for the month of March, I will be going live at 7 p.m. right here. Same place, same time. And we have a couple people. Booyaka. I don't know who you are. And but this is so funny to me because I love reggae. So yes. There are 2 users here. Hello, you're waving. I cannot see you, but thank you for tuning in. If you give StreamYard permission, we'll be able to see your name and your face. But yeah, so again, I'm Natasha Rivera, and I am going to allow Miss Brittany to introduce herself. Go ahead, Britt.
So as she said, I am Brittany Trujillo. Currently, I work in higher education in the administrative field, but I am working personally. My business is working in infertility advocacy, especially for women of color. We have not had the outlets, the voices, the support that is necessary. We have a lot of systemic issues that are in healthcare for women, that Black women of color, especially, that experience infertility. And being that I am one of those women, though I'm very blessed to have a child now, it was very difficult finding that support and the right physicians and clinicians to be there. So that is what sparked my passion. So I am in that field. So I'm always pushing my sisters and of all colors when it comes to that, whatever they're going through, whether it be IVF, whether it be that you're doing, I can't think of the word, IUIs, any of that. So if you need somebody to stand with you in prayer, if you need a word of encouragement, or if you just need someone to help you kind of walk through the processes and help you advocate for yourself, I'm your girl. And yeah, eventually I intend to do this full time. And I am working towards also becoming an author to talk about my story and the story of so many others that have been here, and just to kind of give a pathway and a guide on how to get through it.
Come on now. Pathway, guide, author, advocate. Yeah. Come on. Prayer warrior, encourager, motivator. Yeah, that's you, and so much more. Mom, wife, sister, friend. What? Oh. You the bomb, girl. You are the bomb. And tonight, guys, she didn't hold back, but she did a little bit. Right? But I want to tell you, tonight we are going to talk about the power of waiting well. And I want to talk about this, but before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know how Britt and I'm gonna call her Britt. That's my sister. Like, this is my sister, yes. Okay? Brittany, how Brittany and I met. You want to tell them? You want me to tell?
I'm okay. I will say this. So we were both in a ministry together. Mm-hmm. And y'all, she plucked me out the bunch, because I'm gonna tell you what, she can tell you better than I can. I was just there to get a word and go on about my business.
She was.
But she saw something different and said, nope. And before she tells you how that went, I will say this. She is the sister that I prayed for, because I had been asking God to send me someone that is a married woman, that is, a follower of Christ, that is going to understand the stuff that I'm going through. And, I can talk with her and we can, just have good times, because, you can't always do that with your single friends or certain people that, haven't come to a certain place yet with God. You know what I mean? I don't always want to have to, deal with what people got going on before the life, so it's nice to have somebody that knows what it's like when you are just trying to reach certain heights with the Lord. And God gave me her, and like, we've been rocking ever since. That was 2017, 18, 17,
18. Yeah, 18. Y'all, but I'm going to add to this story. She said I picked her out the bunch, right? And she ain't telling y'all this part. She is not telling you this part, because what I am not going to do is let her dance around this part. I went right up to her beeline, but I did. It was like, I feel like other people overlook people as they came in, and I'm like the hostess with the mostest, right? And I want everyone to feel, hey, Ivana. Hey, Facebook user, hello. I see you guys, but I can't see your name. So if you give StreamYard permissions, we'll be able to see your name, so that I can greet you. So we can greet you by your name and not just, hey, Facebook user. But thank you guys for tuning in. So I went around, I introduced myself to Brittany, and we just clicked. And I took her around, introduced her to different people. And I think it kind of shocked her, because I don't think she was used to that. But I hugged her, and she was trying to fight my hug. So anyone that know me, oh, hey, Ebony. So if you know me, you guys, listen, I need to patent my hugs, okay? If you've ever been blessed by one of my hugs. And
healing hugs.
Yes, they are healing. That's what everyone says. And people will really like seek me out for a hug. They're like, I need a hug right now.
Yes.
And she was a little like, pause, lady, pause, pump the brakes. But I wore her down.
You did. I did give in because I'm a very guarded person. I'm a little bit of an introvert. I have to feel comfortable with people, but I will say she broke through that barrier early on. And when it like clicked, I said, oh, okay. So she's meant to be my people.
Yeah, meant to be your people. So again, it's just a really amazing story. And it's just the way that God just would use anyone. And that's Miss Powerhouse. Hey, pretty lady. So tonight we're going to talk about the power of waiting well. So like, guys, we are in a society where everything's like fast. Everything is like fast food, drive-through, microwave. Everyone wants the quick, right? Everything quick. We don't even shop for ourselves. We have all these services that will shop for you and deliver to you, and you can go online and order your stuff and have it in a day or two, right?
Auto replenish and everything.
That part, right? We don't hardly do anything for ourselves anymore. You want dinner, like there are services out there that will pre-package your meal, ship them to you. All you have to do is nuke them, right? It's such a microwave and fast-paced society that when you get to a point, it's like grab up, we pull up, grab and go type of thing, right? But when we actually get to a place where things are out of our control and we can't pull up, go and grab and go, we have to actually sit and wait. Hey, we have to actually sit and wait on God to do what he do.
Come on.
Then we got problems. And
Whew.
we're just going to talk about the power of waiting well, because waiting is something that people do not like doing. It's almost like a bad word. And
No.
so I just want to share a little bit about, my wait story. I have a few, but I'm going to just touch on one. You guys have probably heard it over in the group. If you follow, well, you all should be following me in here because you're on this live. And then, I'll pass the torch to Brittany and whatever she wants to share. So I had a situation where I was in education. I worked in education for over about 20 years, and about 12 years here in this state. I was in New Jersey before this. And listen, I had to wait. I was waiting to elevate. I was waiting for a promotion, and then I was waiting for my release. But in the wait, I was so frustrated. There was no joy. There was no glory. There was no nothing in my serving. All of it, I was a wreck. I was a wreck. And I'm not going to go into it because you guys have probably already heard this story. But I had to really wait on God. And it was 4 years, guys. I had an affirmation that I would say every single day, that I was one day closer to my last day at blank, blank, blank. At that school district, right? And that was 4 years. I would declare that every single morning. So I had to wait for 4 years. And then when the wait was over, the release didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. So I had to wait some more. And the waiting was stretching and pruning, and like it was just so much. I just thought God was like punishing me, like, what did I do wrong? And the waiting, it sucked. It really did suck. And Brittany was one of my sisters that I would call, and she'd pray with me, and we talked through it. And I just felt like, I don't know what I did to God, but I'm a little irritated right now. Yeah. He's laughing. And I
remember those conversations.
I was like, look, God. I had the ugly cry, and this is what I could do with my sister. And this is why women empowerment is really, really important to me. And just sisterhood in general, when you have really good friends that you can call and be raw and vulnerable with, because waiting sucked for me. I didn't want to wait, but there was absolutely nothing that I could do to change my circumstances. I had to wait on God for the release that I prayed for 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just a synopsis of my wait story. But I was released in 2020. But like I said, after I was released, I had to wait some more. Then I had to wait again, and then I had to wait again. I'm still waiting for stuff. Okay. So the wait ain't never over. It just kind of, you just pass one
each wait prepares you for the next.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's real good. Oh yeah, that's real good. So Brittany, do you have a wait story you want to share? Or were you in a position where you were forced to wait?
So I actually want to start with, the first time I'd heard that phrase, waiting to wait well, it really changed my life perspective. And I held on to it very much so, because it made me realize how it does not serve you well to be in the middle of needing something, of waiting for something, and to be mad, angry, cranky, fussing, fighting, cussing, upset all the time. And I'm not saying that, the journey is ever without emotion, because you're going to go through it regardless. But when you don't go into it with an open heart, and you go into it with bitterness, that is what causes you to have to kind of, it'll feel like you're waiting longer. I'm just going to be honest with you. You will wait longer when you wait in bitterness.
Ooh, that's good.
So I will start there with that. To me, to wait well means to be humble. It means to be prepared, or in a state of preparedness. And it means to stay vigilant. When you are waiting for something, especially when you are waiting on God, which is the most important weight of all, you have to go into it with an open heart. You have to understand that waiting period is just as Natasha said earlier, the time of pruning, the time of shaping, just a time of him really molding you to be prepared. How can you hold water if your bowl has holes in it? God has to reshape those, correct those things, and remold you so that you have the capacity to be able to hold what he's about to give you. So the wait is very important. I feel like my life's journey has been a huge waiting season. So kind of like I said before, it always prepares you for the next. I was a sensitive child. I was always very in touch emotionally with things, and I didn't understand why. I had a broken home. I had a lot of stuff that went on when I was younger, and I never could understand it. And all of these things kind of built up, and to a point where I did start to have bitterness, because I always wondered, well, when is it going to change? When is it going to be better? I met my husband. He showed me that there was a glimpse of a different life that I could have, that I could be better than the circumstances that I had. And I remember certain strides, and I'm gonna be honest with you all in this group, and I'm gonna tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Please, because we don't do that other stuff over here,
right? Well, because how can anybody get free if I hold on to the parts that somebody might need to hear? I struggled with finances. My family never told me how to save, how to this, how to that. So I mean, when I tell you living paycheck to paycheck, I remember, like, get paid on Friday, go out to Walmart and on Saturday, buy up all the groceries, all these different things, pay whatever, and I broke until the next
girl.
paycheck.
Yes,
and God forbid there was an auto pay set up, honey, because by the time that fee hit you and whatever else. So it was a difficult journey, and I would get mad, like, God, I know I got more in me. Why can't I be paid appropriately? But I wasn't stewarding what I had.
That is so good. It's stewarding.
So I had to wait. God was not going to just give me a better job, more pay, if I wasn't learning to be better. And like I said, I'm thankful because my husband was very instrumental in that. He was somebody that understood and knew how to save money and manage better. So I started to learn from him. But that was the process, because, you know, when you grow up dealing with things on your own, you always think you got to fix it. You don't want to take help. And that was also a part of the waiting season, having to realize I can't do it on my own. It was nothing but God.
Right.
That got me through those seasons.
Right.
So, you know, things build up. My husband and I decide to get married. And through some of the emotional trauma that I'd been through, I said, okay, yes. I was 26. I said, you know what? Yeah, we've been together since, let me see, I'd been 18 when we met. So at that point, we'd been together 8 years. I said, yeah, we can go on ahead and start a family, you know, soon after we get married, because I already know who you are. Like, I think this is right. We found out that we could not have children naturally. My husband was born with a congenital defect. He never knew he had it. Everything else functioned normally, so he never knew. And so they said, the only way you guys will ever get pregnant is to do IVF. If you know anything about IVF, especially back in the early 2010s, it was very, very expensive, and very few insurance companies covered much of anything for it. So even though I had been learning to save, that process, honey, took all them coins. Okay. So we did the first process. It failed miserably. And there was a season of waiting that we had to go through until the next one. We had to deal with a lot of emotional stuff between my husband and I. He was grieving a different way than I was grieving. You know, at times we were butting heads, but ultimately we realized, no, we got to fight this together, not apart. Right. So again, the wait helped us. Next cycle, we went to a new doctor. He was further away. Did 2 cycles with him, both that also failed. Very expensive, racked up another bill. And so that was frustration and anger that, you know, it was like, okay, God, what is going on here? I'm praying. I've been trying to change, do things better. Like, what is going on here? I done prayed every day. I done read scripture every day. Why is this not happening? I remember being
that question.
Like, why is this not happening? And to make matters worse, by that point in time, which was probably about 4 or 5 years into it, it's like you're seeing everybody else have babies, everybody else getting pregnant left and right, left and right. And it was hurtful. It was like a slap in the face. I was like, what did I do? I remember very clearly thinking, what did I do, God, that you are punishing me? It felt
right.
like,
doesn't it feel like punishment? Don't waiting feel like you are being punished for? That's what I was saying earlier. Like, I'm like, what did I do?
Yes.
What did I do to you? Because what?
Okay. I'm like, did I steal your lollipop, sir? I'll give it back, God. I'm so sorry. But because that's all I was like, what did I do? It was awful. I remember picking myself apart. After that trial, I remember getting to a very bitter place. That's why I say don't be bitter in your weight. But I remember getting to a very bitter place. And then I kind of took a break from everything. I was like, I don't want to hear no God. I don't want to hear no nothing. Yeah. But God has a way of bringing you back around. So he said, okay, I'm going to let you have your pause. I'm going to let you have that for a moment.
A quick one.
I'm going to let you have a breath. And then I met Natasha. And I met some more encouraging people that were more understanding to what was going on. God continued to elevate me in different things. I thought that I had a job that was bringing me lots of money. I said, okay, we'll be able to start doing another process. I know you remember this. Oh, we'll be able to do another process. I endured so much abuse from that place. I neglected my health. I neglected my mental health, my physical health. I was drained to the point I had actually, I did not realize I had a thyroid disorder. I kept pushing off. So I was like, oh, I'm probably just stressed. And when I finally saw the doctor about it, and this was after I was released from that job, thank you, God. Yes. After I was released from there, I went to see my doctor, and she was like, if you had not come sooner, you'd have ended up in the hospital. Like if I'd waited much longer, because it was that bad. My numbers were a mess. So God gave me a rest, and I got back into my word, and I had to kind of really start to appreciate the other things. And I'm like, okay, God, I know this didn't work this way. And it sounds like the only way we're really going to be able to do a cycle, because it's just so much out of pocket, is if I get a job that has the insurance coverage for it. And I was told that state job, and I remember this very clearly, the state had just passed a law that said, they cover X amount of dollars. And the clinic that we went to, which was local, because the one we were going to was in Pennsylvania, and that was a hike. When I tell you, it was a lot. But when we went to the Dover office, they said, oh, well, they just passed a law. If you can get in with the state agency, you'll have the coverage. So I took a couple of months. I got myself back together, got my health together. And then I put in for 2 or 3, I think it was like 3 state jobs. One of them ended up not working out. And I remember like knowing that these people were interested with me. They were very interested in me. And I couldn't understand why they didn't call me back.
It wasn't your time. That wasn't the place.
God works everything out. They ended up losing funding in that division. So so then there I would have been, right? So thank you, God. And then there were 2. There was a temporary part-time that did not have benefits. I would not have had benefits. And then there was a full-time in an agency that it would have been a little dangerous. And I more than likely would have been uncomfortable. Thank God I had friends, and I can say it. Actually, Natasha was one of those people very instrumental that knew about the agency and was like, Britt, I know you. I don't think that's going to be a good fit. And I had 2 other people that also said, I don't know about that. And I thank God every day, but I felt crazy because I'm like, God, I've been waiting on this job, and this was going to give me benefits from day one. But you're telling me that this little temporary part-time that has no benefits.
Right. Waiting sometimes feel like a game of musical chairs.
Oh my God.
Like, guys, if I don't know what y'all feel like waiting, but if you're in a line, if you're in Chick-fil-A line, if you're in a Starbucks line, listen, y'all, at 8:10 and you got to be to work at 8 o'clock, right? But you still in that Starbucks line, trying to get your triple mocha la 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 la.
I've done that before. I figured, listen, I'm already late.
All late and wrong, but you are in that line waiting because it's something that you want, right? But if you really don't want that thing, you don't hop out that line. You be like, look, I'm gonna go somewhere else because I ain't even pressed, I ain't beat, right? But when it's something you really want and the squeeze is on, you're gonna wait that thing out. So waiting to me, I hear you talking, and I really feel like it's waiting because I've been in it too. And I know that a lot of you ladies have on here have been, and that will watch, have been in a state or in a season of waiting. Yes. Waiting is a part of life. Waiting is biblical.
Listen, I'm telling you, every step of my life has had to wait.
Yes. Same here. You know, and I'm just going to go back for a second when you were like the financial stuff. Listen, I know what it's like to rob Peter to pay Paul, and then we go on over there and rob Paul, right? Because we just didn't have it.
Listen, I didn't. I remember, I don't know if anybody remembers like them payday loan places. I did some of those a couple of times because I already knew my money was spent before I even got paid.
Wow. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember that. It was, whoo.
So fast forward on your weight journey, like you got past the job. God bless you with an employer with benefits.
Yes, I ended up getting a job with benefits. The temporary part-time worked out. God bless me. He even shaped me and molded me for that. He kept me for just such a time. So I had the benefits. We started back. We went through the processes, and then boom, as soon as they did the egg retrieval, COVID hit and we had to wait again.
Oh, come on.
Could not even do the embryo transfer, y'all. Couldn't even do it. So it was
started, and then it stopped right when you was next to the chair.
By that point, we were at 8 years. Okay, we had like just gotten into, or well, no, like 7 years. It was almost close to 7 years at that point.
So a 7-year wait.
7-year wait before we could get to that. And then it was like, okay, you've got to wait longer. And that happened in March. We didn't get to do the transfer again, like start back the processes until like September, almost 6 months. And even then it wasn't working. We had 2 transfers that failed. We had to do a MOC1 biopsy, and then we did a third one and finally got pregnant. In that time though, I'm very thankful because Natasha was able to guide me through dealing with boundaries. So all of it, I feel it like the timing had to happen. I had something that happened in my family that kind of shook some things up, and it was very hurtful, and a lot of things happened and kind of just spread some stuff out, but it had to happen. It all goes back to even the childhood traumas that she had to help me learn boundaries. So it was like I needed that wait time, because I always said, God, I don't want to bring a child into mess. I want to be a healed person raising a child rather than in mess. So it was like it had to happen. I had to wait. No one wants to go through that close to time of, you know, thinking, oh, well, I'm about to be a mother, but I needed to go through it. Right. And all of those things really helped to get me where I needed to be. Even when we got pregnant, I mean, that felt like the longest wait to get to my child, because then we found out there were issues. They were like,
more waiting.
Okay. Then it was, oh, well, this scan doesn't look good. We got to have you go in and do a special scan. So I had to wait until that appointment. And then it was, okay, now you got to do this. It was a lot.
How did you get through the wait, Brittany? Like what helped you? What was your thing? Did you have a go-to, or what was it to help you through that 7-year wait? Because that's a long time.
It is.
And it may seem, and it's a long time for something that you really, truly desire.
Absolutely. When I had to come to the realization that God's plan is greater than mine, and if I'm waiting, it's for a reason. Something Natasha always says, and she gave this to me, and I say it all the time, is that like when you're rushing around and something happens and you have a delay, and it's like, okay, God, I thank you for the delay. And I feel like that's the same thing with waiting, is you just need to be thankful in the delay. There's a reason why God didn't give it to you automatically. There's a reason why it didn't jumpstart right away when you wanted it to. And so when I started adapting that mindset, and like I said, just being humble, being grateful, I had to start changing my thought processes. And I said, okay, God, at least I'm able to get these embryos, because in actuality, I have met women, I know women, I've heard other women's stories that can barely get one.
Right.
So I had to start to be grateful that, okay, even though I've had to go through this process, thank God I can do that. Mm-hmm. Thank God that I can afford the medication because somebody can't. Thank God that I'm having this opportunity because somebody's not going to have that.
So going back to something you said earlier, you started to appreciate the other things. Are these the other things that you began to appreciate?
That I started to appreciate my husband.
Appreciate in the weight.
Appreciate in the weight.
What?
I had to appreciate my husband in a different way, because I realized that even though he was experiencing that situation differently from me, like, he was really rocking with me. I've said this numerous times. I met a woman who told her story. Her husband told her, if I'd known you were broken, I would not have married you. Wow. When they found out that they had infertility issues. Wow. And my husband was not that person. He did not, treat the situation that way. He was always very gentle. And even outside of that, I think it kind of softened him in a different type of way to really be more supportive of me in a different way that I didn't have early on in our relationship.
Right.
I became more aware and more appreciative of the external family that God gave me. Like I said, I went through some stuff with my relatives, and I realized that God gave me a surrogate family that, that was what the blessing was. That was what I needed. Even if I didn't get what I needed from the people that are blood, he gave me people that are there for me and rock with me, and I need to do the same for them and pray for them and keep them covered. So that's another way to be appreciative. I appreciated my job, because there were times, especially during COVID, oh Lord, that stressed my whole life.
Yeah, that was stressful for everybody.
Okay. But it magnified issues that were already there and made it a bigger thing. And I had to just remind, thank you, God, for this job, because I have coverage for not just that, but just medical coverage in general, because somebody needs that right now and doesn't have.
And somebody was praying for, and that was an answered prayer. And we pray, right?
Yes.
But then if it's almost like once we get the blessing, we forget what we prayed. Mm-mm. And it's almost like you become ungrateful in the blessing after you've waited, after you prayed for and you receive, and then you become ungrateful in it. And something you said earlier, and I had this note that I had wrote down earlier, God is actually working in our wait. Yes, while we wait, he works. So your wait is not in vain.
No, it's not.
Waiting is not in vain. It's like, parents and kids, even like just us growing up, right? We couldn't drive until we were a certain age. We had to get a permit before we could get a driver's license, right? So there are stages to the thing that leads up to the big thing.
Yes.
You can't go into a club until you're 21. I'm just running things down, but there's just so many things that we have to wait for in life. And as a mom, I watch and I watch my kids, and they all have gone through these different transitions in life. And I'm like, they have really waited well, and they were patient, and they knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But they just had to wait for it. And we have to be the same way. It's coming. God will not withhold any good thing from those who are called, right?
According to
what? Okay. His purpose. Okay. So that's what it says. So we already know this. And we know that Romans 8:28, because we have you on it. All things. It's the all
things.
It's the all things, not a piece of
all
things, not a two, not a three. All things work together for the
good. For them.
Of them. Who what?
Love the Lord.
Okay, so that's we just have to be very mindful of these things. And it says, wait, I say, wait on the Lord. Wait. He says wait twice in that. Like, wait, like that's how important it is to wait. And when we look
let me say that again. That was so good. I need to play it back for the people.
And play it back for the people, right? Let me run that. Run it again. Run it one more again, just in case I miss it on the first turn, right?
Yes.
But waiting doesn't mean we go ahead of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we could do it and we didn't need God to do it, we would have did it anyway. We just like we pull up, grab and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
but we can't.
No.
And it doesn't mean you don't do anything.
That's true. You
Okay,
can't not do
so
anything.
people take that be still and know really literally.
No, I will
They
say
sit and do
yes.
nothing.
No, don't oh gosh, what is the, not the beast, it's, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank, but it's the verse where it's basically like you need to do, oh, faith without works is
Works is
dead.
dead. That part.
That
part.
yeah. So like I can say when we were trying to conceive, we went out, we bought 2 outfits. We bought a boy outfit and a girl outfit, and when I tell you that sucker, those hung in our room. We prayed over them daily. When I was having a struggle moment, because things happen, like I said, people get pregnant that are near you, around you, you're having to see people and all these things, these announcements, sometimes it gets to you. There were times I had to crawl in bed with these little things and just lay there holding this, like, God, I know you said you was gonna give me this, but it's a hard one today. But I knew God understood. And he gave me the comfort to get through it and get to the next thing. And I want to touch on something that you had mentioned, with, how when people get the blessing, it's like they forget. Don't ever be like the lepers that ran off.
Girl, tell the people.
Thank you. Because I promise you, even with my child, this baby is now 10 months old and some days. There is not a day, nor hour, nor week that goes by that I'm not grateful, because I continue to remember what it felt like before. The reason that I'm so passionate and have such a purpose in this is because I've been there, and now I work with women. I can never forget how that felt. Even now that I have my blessing, I'm going to do my best to continue. I know I will continue to give him praise, but I'm going to do my best to help be the bridge for the other women that didn't have one, that are still trying to make it through their wait.
Right. Make it through the wait. So we appreciate in the wait.
Yes.
And we have to, oh man, that was good. This is all good. And you have really done a good job. And I know, like, just knowing you the last 4 years of the journey, it was a lot, and it took a toll. And I will tell you over and over again, it was just your strength. You're strong. And sometimes you don't want to hear that, but some people would have given up and just said, forget about it. But you endured, you were steadfast, and you said no. Even when those days where you felt like God forgot you, if it wasn't me, or, I'm saying, no, what did God say? Because, I'm that sister. Ooh, I'm like, what did he say? What did he say? What did he say? And you were like, I know, right? Because we had those talks.
I literally remember, I think I was like going to Chipotle, and she was like, what did God tell you?
What did he say?
I remember having to be reminded of that. Yes.
Someone says they don't mind waiting. Okay, is this Powerhouse? That's good that you don't mind waiting, but there are some things that we actually want right now. I know for me, I am in waiting right now. And it's like, what else do I have to do, God? Like, and this is how I talk, like, what else? And I say this is almost like a running joke, but I'm like, but it's really true. Like what you were saying, Brittany, like all my life I had to fight. Nothing has ever come easy to me in life. I literally feel like I have been fighting from the womb.
Yeah.
I have been fighting from the womb, and I am 45. Nothing has ever come easy to me. Nothing was ever served up to me on a silver platter. Everything that I have, and I've had to work hard for it, and I've had to wait for it. And so I'll be sick of waiting. I'm just going to be real honest, and I hope that this message really resonate with someone and bless you, because while you may not be waiting today, there will be a time in your life that the wait will be on. You're going to wait, and you're not going to like it, and you're going to have pray a good prayer life and some really good positive people that will encourage you and remind you of what God has said. Because it's It's rough
It's
out
a
here in these
process.
waiting out and he's in on Wait Street.
It's a process. I don't think anybody is just born being okay to wait. If
We're
you
not
think
gonna
about
wait.
babies when they're hungry, what do? Ah, because they're like, give me that milk.
Right.
I
I'm
want it now.
hungry.
They don't understand wait. They just know I
Nope.
have a need and I want it fulfilled now.
Now.
And as we get older, you have to learn, like, and then you start on solid foods, you have to wait for your parent to prepare it and put it before you can eat. There is always a wait in life. And it, how can I say this nicely? It,
Huh?
I'm finding it.
I'm finding it.
All I can say is it takes time. You're not gonna, get it right away. If you are someone that is like still trying to get in that
Impatience.
groove, you have
Yeah.
to be patient. And one of the other things I can suggest is, it's gonna sound crazy. Stop being so consumed with it and having it on your mind all the time. I know that's easier said than done, but I promise you, when I learned to branch out and do other things, when I focused on my health and fitness, when I decided to go back to school, when I started to do these other things, because even though I kept it in my prayers, anything that I want, regardless of whether it was that journey or anything, I keep those things in my prayers, and then I keep moving in other aspects of my life, because you can't become arrested by this one thing that you don't have.
Don't become arrested by girl. These are gems. That
Because
is so good.
you mess yourself up. Yes, you're waiting for it, but you can't. Standing still is not going to bring it
That
any
ain't it.
faster.
That ain't it.
So
And
do the things that you can do.
And I even know, like in the Bible, when you look at some stories, some people were waiting, but God still sent them on mission. God still sent them on, to do things, to do what He called them to do while He prepared. But sometimes we don't receive it because we are not obedient. And we have to operate in total obedience.
Yes.
Why would God bless us? And He does, because grace and mercy, praise Him for it. Because
yes.
I don't I don't deserve any of it. None of us do. But thank Him for His grace and for His mercy. And if anyone on here does not have a relationship with God, if you don't know what grace and mercy is, let me just tell you. Grace is when God give you what you don't deserve, and mercy is when God don't give you what you deserve. That's what grace and mercy is, okay? So I just wanted to get that out the way. But it is really rough out here, and if you find yourself in a place of waiting, and it's not easy. It's not easy. Do you have any tips for any woman that may find herself in a place of wait and she doesn't know when it's coming or how or what she should do next? But before you answer that, I believe this was Ebony that said this: waiting when you said this, you said waiting when bitter will cause it to feel longer. And Absolutely. She said that was good. So I just wanted to read that on the screen. But do you have any tips, or what can you do? You said that you started focusing on other things, but what would you tell a woman waiting, not necessarily waiting for the birth of a child or conception of a child, but the conception and birth of anything?
Yes.
Because I believe with waiting, you need peace. You need to be in a place of peace, and it requires patience.
Yes. So first, I would say acceptance of the situation is the first thing.
Acceptance.
And that means you cannot sit around mad saying, why me? Why me? You have to accept this is where you're at.
Right.
And this is what you have to wait on. And be grateful, because that means that if God's telling you have to wait on this, it's going to be good. One of the best little things that I'd ever read, a girlfriend of mine sent me a long time ago, and we were in a infertility group, and it talked about how when you go to a restaurant and the person sat down and they said, well, I want the chef special. And they were sitting there waiting, and they saw all these other tables of people that came after them getting food. And then they called the waiter over, like, well, why am I? Well, you have the chef special. So this is being, carefully prepared and specially made, with the most delectable flavors and things. And then when he got it, it was the best thing that he had ever eaten. So that's where I say, accept where you're at, because this is what you've asked for, and this is being specially made. So don't be bitter. Don't get mad. It's going to be tough, but just understand it's being specially made. Which is, the best, because you don't want the cookie cutter stuff, right? You want the best of the best that God has for you. So accept that. Okay, I got to sit in my weight. The second thing is get prepared.
How do they do that?
Whatever the thing is. So like in my situation, like I said, we bought baby outfits and we prayed over them. There was a moment where things clicked and God told me, start preparing the room. So I had to listen to him and listen to his instruction. So we painted the room. We started picking out furniture, doing those things. But then I had to do other things. So I was reading books and I was reading articles and I was joining groups to gain insight. So it's the same. If you're about to birth a business, if you're about to open a cosmetics line, if you're about to open a clothing line, do your research. Start, dabbling in those things to get extra education for it, because even though God is going to prepare you and give you all the things that you're going to need, it's get that extra bit of knowledge, because you never know how that's going to help you or play a big part in the process for you. So start to get prepared. And then, as I said, like as Natasha pointed out, start to focus on other things. Don't be so consumed all the time that you don't enjoy life. Like I said, I started to get back into my fitness journey. Those hormones wreak havoc on the body. And I was unhappy about what I looked like. Even though I feel like I covered it up pretty well, but I knew I could do better. I actually got into running. I was never much of a person that enjoyed running. I didn't like that. I was like, who wants to do that getting sweaty and nasty and hot? That is disgusting.
You do now.
It was something that helped me to get out that angst, helped me to get all of that stuff out physically. I started doing my yoga and stuff again more. I went out and actually purchased a mat that was of a significant price tag, but I wanted to invest in something that I enjoyed. Right. So it mattered to me. And I knew that if I did this, I would continue the practice of it. Just because. Right. I started to, read other books about just my mental health. I started going back to school. So I'm going for my human services, and eventually I want to be a licensed clinical social worker.
You will be. You will be.
Yes.
You will be.
But I did this for me because I started to see my purpose in this. So all of these things, it even ties back into the preparation, me getting the extra education, because I know that this is something that God is going to give me. So just taking my mind off of that in general. And then I got to see things in a different perspective. I got to learn about things that I never thought I would need, but I don't know what God has for me. So it's interesting because I got to learn about drug and alcohol addiction. I got to learn about child abuse. I got to learn about personality disorders, all of these things that I would not think has anything to do with me having a child. But
God, it's the all things. It's that Romans 8:28.
Okay.
It's the all things. It's the all things.
In the wait, he gave me something else to do and focus on, because these are all things and tools that you may have come back around that are going to bless somebody else. This stuff might help me handle somebody differently that I've previously wouldn't have known how to handle. So I would say those are the main things. Just
I like that.
Acceptance, getting prepared, and taking your mind off of it and start to branch out in your life in other ways.
These are great. Those are some really great tips, and I hope you guys are writing that down. If not, we're gonna have to have Brittany drop them in the group or in the chat somewhere. Yes. You had just said something, and I didn't write it quick enough. Geez. Oh my gosh, I just had a whole brain freeze. Bring it back. But anyway, that was all good, and thank you, like, just for coming on and like for sharing that and just giving these tips. And I would say the same thing. Prepare while you wait. Mm-hmm. Prepare while you wait, and find your place of peace. Find your patience. And again, we are impatient people because,
Mhm.
again, we are in a fast paced society. Everything we can get it right now. So anything
Yes.
we have to wait for, it's a problem. And that's why
Mhm.
I really wanted to do this and just come on and just talk and for women empowerment,
Mhm.
because I feel that we all have something to offer
Mhm.
and we can always help the next woman. And like I said earlier, whatever you're looking or seeking and waiting to conceive and or birth,
Mhm.
you're going to have to wait regardless.
Absolutely.
And waiting is inevitable. It's going to happen. You're going to find yourself in a wait space eventually. If you're not waiting now, keep on living.
Mhm.
Eventually you're going to find yourself in a place of waiting. But the way you wait makes all the difference,
It
like Brittany
does.
said. It
Does.
makes all of the difference because
Mhm.
you don't want to be bitter. You bitter. You don't want to be groaning and complaining in the wait. And so when you look at some people in the Bible, how they had to wait, gosh, almost all of them had to wait.
Everybody had to wait.
They had to wait to be king. You know,
Everybody had to wait.
they had to wait. Wait.
Yes.
You know, like um I'll say I have so many. I'm trying to get one in my head right now.
And some of them had impediments that God never removed, you know, and
Moses.
they still had to move forward with whatever God was giving them or having them wait on and still carry that thing. So and this is something else I think I hope will bless you, whether you are in the work weight, the husband weight, the baby weight, the education weight,
Come
carry
on.
those pounds well.
Oh, carry the pounds.
I'm telling, whether it's like I said, work weight, husband weight, baby weight,
Whatever the weight.
education weight, carry your kids getting on your nerves weight, carry those pounds well,
Wow. That
because they're only going to make you stronger. It's like exercise.
you
I'm just
exercise your muscle, you exercise your weight muscle.
exercise your weight
Can
muscles.
you like I said how I had a 4-year wait, and this was just something recent. I mean, I've had other weights and I'm in a weight right now. Brittany
Mm-hmm,
had a 7-year wait, right?
mm-hmm.
And but I go back to the Bible, the children of Israel. I believe this is Miss Evelyn. She says, "Tell it, baby." That's right. You know I'm gonna tell. You know I'm gonna talk that good news talk. Wait
Wait
and be
with
of courage.
courage.
That's
Yes.
right. And be of good courage. Be of good cheer. That's right. You can't be out
Yes.
here bitter and expect God to be blessing you to be acting all
Mm-mm.
stank. Um, but the children of Israel, like when they were freed in 40 years, that track didn't even take that long. But it
Mm-mm.
was the murmuring and the complaining
Yeah. Come
that
on. Didn't I
kept
tell
them
you?
waiting.
I didn't even think about that. I'm telling. Don't be
Listen,
bitter.
I took my
Don't
glasses
be
off for that
bitter
one.
in your weight. You're gonna make it longer. See.
So I would like to say, okay, they prayed to be free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freedom came, and now because you don't like the circumstance of your freedom, and now you have to wait for the next move when it's the wait, what you're waiting for is like right there, is right in the distance, like it was
Yep.
right there. They could just walk to it, you can
Right
touch it,
there.
you can sniff it, right? But because you complained and because you grumbled and you grieved the spirit, right, you're gonna wait a little longer and a little longer and a little longer until you stop complaining. And
Even their
eventually
grief.
they started dying off and the next generation got it. So I want to see what I've been waiting for. I don't want my kids can see it while I'm here, right? And
Yes.
my granddaughter and my great listen, they can see it too. But I want to see what I've been waiting for. I don't want them to have to reap it because I
Even their
got
greed
this.
messed them up. Remember when God blessed them and gave them manna and he said, now let it go. Whatever it is, just take for today and then move on. Some of them
And
was trying to store it and then it was rotten. Like,
poverty mindset because it didn't believe that he
and
would
they
do
didn't
what he
trust.
said he would do tomorrow.
That is a huge, and let me say that too. That was a huge part. If I did not trust God, and that's why I say in the wait, he prepares you for the next. God had to keep showing me. And I totally know I wouldn't have been prepared back at 26 to be a mom the way that I am now at 35, about to be 36 this month.
Right.
God had to do some things and show me his faithfulness and show me that I can lean on him before I could get to certain places. I had to go through those weights for me to trust him, to know that he is going to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that I can ask or think. And he did it in every situation. So I will say in some aspects, it will get easier because you'll know, okay, God, they're telling me I got to wait. They're telling me it's going to be this. It's going to be XYZ. I give it to you.
Right.
It's going to be easier to surrender over the situation. But like I said, you're going to go through it sometimes in that waiting season because you're going to be like, oh, God, do I need to give you a new watch, sir?
He need a watch.
Didn't you promise me this like 7 months ago? Listen, you like, didn't you promise me this 7 months ago? Like, where it at?
Oh,
where it at,
girl.
God? But I'm just being honest. But so I think the surrender will get easier, but the weight itself, because you never know what's going to get thrown at you that is going to shake you and make you start to doubt and want to compare.
Right. And like you said earlier, that was so good. I got to give God another watch. No, he he's the holder of all the time. I don't know if I don't know if it's Miss Evelyn or Ebony, but she said, y'all ladies hot tonight with this topic. And thank you. This is what we wanted to do. I know what it's like to Sundays. I used to dread Sundays, right? I used to dread Sundays when I was going to the employer. So, and the weekend too. And I wish that I had someone to pour into me on a Sunday night. Like, this is something so amazing just to get some kind of fuel and to get pumped up. And this may be something that I'll continue to do. I will see what happens, right? But I just feel like sometimes we just need that little bit of encouragement and that little bit. Like Brittany said earlier, doesn't matter what you wait. If you're waiting for the job, you're waiting for the baby, the husband, if you're waiting for education, whatever the house, you're waiting for the car, you're waiting for your money to line up because it's acting a little funny right now, right? Whatever it is, right? Yes. Carry the pounds well, like she said. And so, who said I'm excited to see the fruits of my wait time? Yes. If you wait well, you expect a great harvest, right? And the fruit should be great. Exponential blessings should come your way. But Sunday nights, I hated them. I didn't enjoy that. Friday nights, I love. Saturdays, great. But then I felt like I was rushing through my Sunday because I knew the hell, I'm going to just say it, that I had to endure for the next 5 days. And I had to mentally prepare myself to go to.
That's called the Sunday scaries. There's a word for that.
Is that what it's called? I ain't heard that. It was.
That is the term for the anxiety people feel when they get to, Sunday or Sunday afternoon because they know they have to go back to their regular week.
Right. Regular scheduled routine. So that's why I did this tonight, because it's just something to give you some fuel and a little glimpse of hope and just a little something to hold on. And I get emotional when I start talking about this because I know what it's like to go to a place that you hate. And I know what it's like to wait and to wait to get out of a thing that is actually causing you all the agita, all the stress, tearing your health up and all that other stuff. But I will say this, that wait prepared me for what I'm doing right now. And like Brittany was saying earlier, God had to prepare some things for me. Like he says, I will prepare a table for you in the presence of my enemies. Now I'm not trying to remove the word, but I'm saying he had to prepare some things for me. And I am walking in it now. If I didn't go through what I went through, I would not have learned some of the skills that I needed to run my own businesses. So it goes back to that Romans 8:28. I'm heavy on that scripture. It's the all things for me. All things work together, not some of them. All things work together for the good. Right. And so
So I just want to add, because something that she's not telling you a part of her testimony. Yes, God prepared her in her weight when she was working for the previous institution for her businesses. But what she's forgetting and neglecting to tell you is God also set her up to be the standard, to be the bar, because they have not been able to find a replacement to fulfill what she can do since she was there. I remember reminding her and letting her know that God had a major purpose for her before she left. And she fulfilled that purpose. So much so, they can't even get a single person to do her job. They had to split it up and post 2 people. I'm sorry. And I know I apologize if I shouldn't be telling this, but I just want y'all to understand how good God can set y'all up. Because she was ready to leave, but she had some things that she had to do first.
Yeah.
And God allowed her to do that. And now that place can't even find anyone to hold a candle.
Either one of them. It was 2 of them. They struggling. It's a struggle. Because
she is the standard. So just understand, God is making you the standard as you are in that weight.
In the weight. You are on it. Somebody said, I'll wait. Katrina said, y'all better preach.
Hey, girl.
It is the weight, like, because that weight, man, it's like,
it's hard.
Doing it right now. And I just remember those days. It's just, every day was Freaky Friday. And I always say that I was the gift. I am the gift with the gifts, right? I say that now. I will tell certain people that too, right? I was a set gift in that place, and God sent me there for that purpose, to clean up. I had to clean up. And so you're right. There was a standard that I left, and there will never be anyone that will go and fulfill my shoes, because I was anointed and appointed for that time. Yes. And so that's the thing, when you wait and then God has you in a place to wait, a place to go and do the thing, to do the work, and you're waiting in the process, just keep doing the work. And I'm going to tell you guys, work it with excellence. Even though you may not want to be there, I did not want to be there. 5 years, I didn't want to be there. But guess what? That's grace. That's grace. 5 is the number of grace, right? Yes, that's the grace period was up, right? So, that's my mom. I served in excellence every single day. I did not take what I was going through out on the people. I served well. I waited well. I had no choice. I mean, I had my moments with God and with my, my friends and my husband I would talk to, but I still had to wait, and I served well. So continue to, like Brittany said, wear your pounds well. You have to serve well too.
Yes, you do.
And so don't go acting like, well, I'm leave this job, I don't need this. Nope, you are out of order, out of line, and you're going to have to repeat that cycle. If you leave, you're going to repeat it somewhere else. So just stay on put and wait it on out. Stay put and work it and wait it out. So Brittany gave us some really good tips on how to prepare while you wait, which is amazing. This is, y'all, do anyone have any questions? We're going to open up for another 5 minutes for any questions. If you guys, hey, Katrina, it's my daughter, y'all. That's Coconut's mama. And my mama's on here too. Thank you guys for all tuning in tonight. Thank you again for everyone that will watch the replay. I really hope that this bless you and it encourages you and it lifts you up. That really is the reason for these lives on Sunday nights. And I just have to do what God has called me to do in this time. Okay, again, I'm waiting, right? But He's requiring more of me. He goes because when He gives you what? To whom much is given,
much is expected. And can I just say, I want to remind everybody and say this, and this is not just with infertility. Go do the thing. Go do the things, no matter the weight, no matter how difficult it might be. Natasha, I really appreciate you for saying how strong I had to be through that situation, because there were times that I didn't think I was going to make it, but God but God. I'm gonna put it that way.
Right,
So
right.
please don't ever y'all be put off because it doesn't look like it's happening the way that it should, or it doesn't feel like it's coming as fast as it should, or you think you're gonna miss an opportunity. Still do the thing, pursue it, stay vigilant, and just trust God. Trust Him throughout that wait, and I promise you, you cannot go wrong. Stay in your word. Any of the scriptures that you have heard here today, go back, write them down, put them all over, and whether you got to put it on your bathroom mirror in the morning or put it on your TV before you flip it on to remind you to look at do those things because it is so worth it. It is so worth it.
Right.
To get out of that abusive job, to have that child, to have that husband, to have a family that's free from things like just. It is worth it. It really is.
Right. It's a work. Waiting is a work. Waiting is work. Waiting is work. Someone said, I enjoyed this so much. Great topic. It lifted you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That means everything. Like that. If one person, if no one came on tonight, we were still going to do this because I know what I've been charged to do. And I'm thankful for you, Brittany, for coming on. Are there any questions? Are any questions?
Amen.
All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in a group. I will be going through them tomorrow and I'll answer any questions that you have. But next week, please come back. And I'll be back with another dope chicks. We bring some more litness. But Brett, I might have to bring you back on with me again, honey, because you did that. I enjoy so much. And this is the power of sisterhood, guys. Like, sisterhood is amazing when you have the right people in your life, when you have the right women pushing you and encouraging you. Anyone that does not encourage you, and anyone that make you or it can try to convince you to do or say things contrary to the word of God that God has given you, they are not your people.
If they make you,
they are workers of the devil.
Yes, if they make you question
they
yourself,
are not God. They are not telling you what God is not going to tell you one thing and tell somebody tell you the opposite. That ain't how that's like telling your kids something and then somebody come in and say, no, your mom didn't say that, when you know good and well you told your kid that. So don't be deceived. And sometimes you really do have to put your life on do not disturb while you're in waiting. What does that look like, Natasha? It looks like cutting everything and everyone off to go and heal. Because if you have like Brittany said, an angst, or if you have you're really like with this waiting, you need to like pull back from everything so that you can hear a little bit clearer. So whatever that may look like to you, it looked like therapy for me. I had to like just not respond. I had to like really just pull back from everything. I purged so much people, places, and things, and I never picked them back up because they weren't a part of my journey anymore. So don't be afraid to let people go. Don't be afraid to put the do not disturb sign up in your life. And take care of you. Do not be afraid to get therapy if you need it. Whatever you need in your wait, that's part of preparation while you wait also. So there were no questions in here. And with that being said, we are going to get out of you guys' hair. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for rocking out with us tonight. Thank you for your time. I pray that it is given back to you abundantly. And again, you guys go have the best week. Rock out. Brittany, do you have anything you want to add?
No, just God bless you all. And I pray that your weight gets a little bit easier. Right. Those muscles are coming, girls.
Right. And Brittany, if you guys want to stay connected with Brittany, you want to follow up with Brittany, or someone in a situation with infertility, because she is the advocate. Like, you guys, if you are looking for someone to pray for you, to touch and agree with what God has said, and if you are just looking for a support system, you will have that in Brittany. She has an amazing group on Facebook. I'm gonna let you talk about it because it's your group.
Yeah,
I'm just a part of it.
Yes. So, True Life Confessions of an Infertile. That is my Facebook group, and I also have an Instagram, True Life Story at True Life Story. So I just like to try to post anything that is encouraging, things that are related to the infertility life, because there are sometimes just medical articles and different things that I like to kind of post out there to give you information. I'm always, you can reach out to me via those groups or DM, and I will respond and make myself available. So just I'm here.
All right, we had somebody said dynamic duo, you two, and great job, ladies. And we thank you guys again. Thank you guys so much. I love you. You guys go have an amazing week. Go rock it. And know that the joy of the Lord, remember this, the joy of the Lord is your strength, and you can do all the things. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a good night, guys. Later.